What's up guys, my name is Your Heroes and welcome back to more Gates of Hell, and today we're going to be looking at the announcement of the Airborne DLC. That Gates of Hell have put a news article about this, and we are going to be going into full details and everything you need to know about the upcoming DLC. So if you would like to see more content like this, then make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. If we can try and get to 3k before the end of the year, that'd be absolutely amazing. But the topics we're going to be discussing about, which Gates of Hell announced, is about the airborne units themselves, you know, the different divisions that are included in the game, as well as the content and a possibly new nation that has been added into the game. So if you're looking forward to all this, then make sure you stay tuned, and we are just going to get straight into it without any delay. And also something I would like to announce is that we are going to be looking at the store page as well, and then seeing how much it might cost compared to other DLCs, and when I think it's going to be released, you know, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. But we'll get to that towards the end of the video. So let's just get straight into it. So it says, if we zoom in here, so it says, we are proud to announce Call to Arms Gates of Hell Airborne. This special DLC will only require Ostfront to play. So what that means is that you do not need any other DLC, you just need the base game itself, which is Gates of Hell. So you don't need any other DLCs, there's no confusing about it, real simple, you just need the game itself. Time to start wish listing. The store page is already up, so they've already got the store page for the Airborne. So if you want to add it to your wish list, then just click this wish list button right here. Now, when reading the context, my face might cover a wee bit of it, but don't worry, I will read it to you anyways to make sure you get a full understanding of it. So it says, let's first go to topic, which is Airborne. So it says, get ready for spectacular action-packed experience. This DLC will take the single player format a step up with its upgraded features. That's actually quite interesting. So it sounds like that Gates of Hell during this update, during this DLC, is that there also is an update coming with the DLC, if I remember correctly. And I remember something mentioning about single player or some sort of upgraded, you know, features for the single player. So when the update does come for it, I think hopefully same time as the DLC, hopefully we'll find out a wee bit more information about what these upgraded features are for the single player, so stay tuned to the channel for that. Step in the shoes of a US paratrooper and get ready to go into action at the crack of dawn on D-Day. Take part in Operation Market Garden, the Battle of the Bulge, and advance into Germany proper for the crossing of the Elbe River. Immerse yourself in the iconic battles that gained the 82nd and 101st legendary status. That is brilliant. By the way, I did upload a video the other day which was regarding about what these type of airborne units were, and I think a few of you commented, or one of you commented on what these type of airborne they are, so thank you very much for letting me know about what type of units they are. I appreciate that. But yeah, the famous Battle of the Bulge, you know, the Operation Market Garden, all very famous battles that happened during D-Day, or, you know, during, you know, the midst of the World War II. I know that's very vague, but that is and especially that Operation Market Garden I felt was so big, and the Battle of the Bulge was so big because it was probably one of the biggest battles to happen out there during the time of the war. And of course, except from D-Day, which was a major one, but of course you had other battles going around the time, you know, but I felt like these two, Operation Market Garden and the Battle of the Bulge, were so big that they just can't be ignored. So I'm really glad Gates of Hell are actually putting it into the game. And if we go further now to detail, is that it says, as you may have come to expect us, the battlegrounds will be the real thing. Detailed recreations of iconic locations such as Berkrut Manor, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, that must have been one of the areas that that might have been Operation Market Garden or the Battle of the Bulge. I don't know which one. Let me know in the comments down below which location this battle took place. You've also got the bridge at La Ferrera and the Nijmegen Bridge during Operation Market Garden. Oh, never mind, you don't have to tell me which it is. It's during Operation Market Garden. But I know I'm butchering all these names, but I'm very happy to see that Gatesville are taking the historic accuracy off it and putting these realistic, locations and iconic locations into the game, because if they produced, these operations or these single player campaigns and didn't add these famous or iconic locations, there'd be no point in basically having these operations or these Operation Market Garden into the game, because it wouldn't be Operation Market Garden without the iconic location. So I'm really happy that they are adding to this game. Really important here, it says 12 single player co-op missions await with all of the right maps and assets to immerse yourself deeply. That is amazing. 12 single player co-op missions, that is incredible. That is probably just as much or even more as the Liberation DLC, maybe slightly less actually. So the fact that it's not even a new faction added into the game, it's like a section, a different it's just an airborne unit, and it's got 12 campaign missions. That is amazing to see. And knowing that, because Gatesville did say that this DLC would be different, knowing that they've added so many single player co-op missions is amazing. So really props to Gatesville for that, and I hope there's a lot of diversity within these missions, because a lot of it could just be defending and attacking, but I hope there is some sort of different aspects to the game, rather just maybe capturing a flag or defending a position. But then again, they're trying to make it as realistic as possible for the American campaign. So really props to these guys. A lot to play with there, and you can see some nice pictures of German, I think that's German artillery. Okay, moving on to division. So the units that are featured in the Airborne campaign will be two of the most famous US divisions in the military history, the 82nd and the 101st Airborne Division, as told. In 1942, the 82nd All-American was the first US Airborne Division ever to be formed. Their baptism of fire followed in 1943 when they were paratrooped over Sicily and late over San Marino, which I think is also Italy. During the Normandy invasion, the 82nd carried out Mission Boston. I thought that was a French word there, but it's Boston, in which one of its objectives was to take Sante Maria Inglesi. Obviously, this mission will be included in the DLC along with other missions that tell you the story of the 82nd. That is really good to hear, because maybe a lot of people don't know, but this is how these two, paratroopers were formed during these operations. So the fact that Gatesville does give you a good historic background to how these divisions were actually made is really top notch. And the fact that, the fact that it's concentrated onto specific divisions is really good, but it's just the fact that there could be other American divisions. I mean, it's all paratroopers, I get that, but there might be maybe some reinforcements that come at some point during the campaign. But then again, I am not a historic genius, as I've said many times before on the channel. So it's good to see that they're fully focused on the 82nd 101st Airborne and the historic form, the way they were formed. But I would also like to see a wee bit of different, units as well involved in it, just to see a good mix up. But then again, it is fully focused, so I do get that. So so that was the 82nd. Now let's move to 101st. The 101st Screaming Eagles is the second oldest airborne division in the US Armed Forces, also redesigned from being an organised reserve infantry division in 1942. Like the 82nd, the 101st was dropped before dawn on D-Day, their objective being to secure the village of Saint Martin de Varville, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, and the causeways to or from Utah Beach. The 101st became even more legendary during the Battle of the Bulge, when they defeated the besieged Belgian town in Bastogne. This and other famous battles will be included in the storyline for the 101st. That is amazing. So it's so good to see that Gatesville have put so much detail in giving you the backstory of the 101st and the 82nd Airborne. Knowing that I'm able to actually now understand, where these airborne come from and what many others might not know where they come from is such a blessing. And now that we have a good good understanding of where they've come from and how they were formed, we're able to use our knowledge from this and put it in battle and finally understand, you know, when the battle actually, you know, when this game DLC's in the game, we're able to understand fully how the 101st and 82nd were fighting during the war. So pretty top notch for that. Now, one of the kind of most exciting things I'm really excited for, new content. Other than single player missions, which can be played as co-op as well, there are some new vehicles and a lot of assets. The assets will be a big expansion to the options for the Western Front, including an assortment of assets from the Netherlands. So what they're saying there is that there's going to be some new vehicles and new assets from the Netherlands. So that is for the Netherlands, which is really exciting. So I can't wait to see how those type of units will turn out and if we'll actually see a Dutch DLC. But to be honest, if this is true, if they're going to add like Dutch, you know, troops and all that, I don't think they created anything special, you know, like the UK or Poland or anything like that, or Finland. So maybe this could be interjoined maybe with, I don't know, with the Americans or something like that, like add certain units with the mix of Americans. But then again, if you're adding Dutch units into an American faction, it doesn't really make sense because the Dutch is their own faction, it's its own troops. So adding that doesn't really make sense, but then again, it would be really cool to see that. So let me know in the comments down below what you think these assets and new vehicles could be for the Netherlands. Some pretty spectacular objects await. On the whole, the table of contents is perfectly suited for the campaign. You can find the content listing on the store page. You can see we've got a beautiful photo there, which I'll definitely be using for the thumbnail. And it says integration. The Airborne DLC requires the Ostfront base game only. Even if there's a US forces involved, we obviously encourage anyone to try the Liberation DLC as well, which adds the US as a nation. But to play the Airborne DLC is not required. Yeah, this is what I don't quite get. This is something that I'm quite disappointed at, is Gatesville, is that you're adding units that are already part of a faction which is already in the game, which is the United States. United States has a whole big faction as part of the Liberation DLC. I don't quite get your reason behind why having separate, you know, units that are already part of a nation. The 82nd and the 101st Airborne were part of the United States faction. So my questions to Gatesville and all of you out there as well is that, why do you think Gatesville have done this? I know it's because of some of the really famous and prehistoric battles, I get that, but it's just something I'm not quite understanding if they're already part of a faction that's already in the game. So let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts on that. Do you think that this should be part of the Liberation DLC, or do you think that you're happy with the Airborne DLC coming out as a separate DLC and, you know, being a separate kind of faction in it itself? So let me know in the comments down below. But overall, I think this has to be one of the most unusual but exciting DLCs out there. I don't think it's the best DLC, I have to say, out there. I think probably one of the best DLCs for me was the Talvasota DLC, personally, for me. I know the one before this, the American faction, I forgot the actual name of the DLC for that. The American faction was an absolute game changer in the game, but I thought the Talvasota was right up there for me. So let me know also what is your favorite DLC so far in the game as well. So there you go, guys, that is it. It says, did you know AA on the 2nd Airborne Division shoulders patch stands for All American? Well, there you go. The name reflected the fact that it had members from every US state, which is really cool. The 101st Airborne Division was formed around the nucleus of staff from the 82nd. That's it for now. Did you see this coming? Let me know in the comments. So yeah, guys, that is it for today. I hope you did enjoy this. Now, what do I think my price range is going to be for this DLC? Now, if we look at the other DLCs, you can see, I know it's quite small, but I'll zoom it in. You can see that the Talvasota first one, which was £15, the Scorched Earth was £8.50, the latest one, Liberation, that's the name of it, Liberation, was £20. So I think the price I would hope to expect is maybe about £10 to £15 at the max £15. If they're charging the same as Liberation, I think it's a complete rip-off, because it's not a new faction. It's not, they are adding 12 campaigns, but it's nothing, you know, it is special, but they're not adding a new faction, and I don't think it's worth £20. I think maybe about £10 to £15 between, in the middle of that range. I'd be happy if it was maybe about £12, you know, right in the middle. But I think maximum £15. I don't think Gatesville should be charging any more than that. If they do, I think it's a complete rip-off. Don't spend it. You know, don't spend £20 on a DLC that's not even a new faction. Even though they're adding new units, it's just technically just units part of a faction. I know that kind of ruins it, but for me, I think that's the most realistic way of looking at it. If they're gonna pay £20 for this, complete rip-off, don't buy it. But I hope they do have a realistic budget for, you know, or not budget, I hope they have a realistic fund for this game on how much they're going to release for it. So that is it. And when do I think it will be coming out? Hopefully, I think maybe it'll come out the end of August. I think hopefully maybe early September, depending on how they progress through the DLC with it all. So that is it for today, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you want to see more content news like this and more Gates of Hell Ostfront, you know, Airborne, which I will be releasing to the channel, then make sure you do the stuff I said, subscribe, like, comment, all that. And all of that, guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and Ostfront, and I will see you in the next video. See you later, and goodbye.